have lunch with anyone in the world, who would that be? And think about it, if you can have hundreds of them with different people, how would that change your life? Well, I'll share with you how it changed mine. I might look reasonably confident standing here today sharing my story, but you know what? If you told me 2 years ago that I'm going to speak in front of so many people, I probably look something like this. Yeah, fainted, no exaggeration. Because not long ago, I was shy, like really, really shy. I remember I was 17 years old when I moved out from home. Not just a few blocks away, I moved 7,500 kilometers away from Hong Kong to Australia. I was really excited that I'm going to get great education and going to start a new life here. But at the same time, I struggled so much. I was lonely, I was scared, and my confidence got smashed. So much to an extent that I couldn't talk to anyone that's non-Asian. That sounds ridiculous, I know, but I just couldn't. Anyway, life goes on and life is great, and I made new friends. So let me just show you a photo that I took not long after I arrived in Australia. What do you notice from this photo? 100% of my friends from Hong Kong. I was scared, tried to stay in my little bubble just to make sure that, don't do anything scary. 4 years later, I graduated. I was so proud. Commerce degree from Melbourne University. And here's my graduation photo. Yeah, still 100% of my friends from Hong Kong. And it was great, but things sometimes don't happen as planned. And unfortunately, immediately after graduation, all my friends from Hong Kong decided to leave Melbourne and go back home. And I was the only one that stayed in Australia. So within a few months, I lost all my friends. But like I said, that's okay because life goes on. And 2 years later, I got married. Have a guess where my husband's from? Yeah, Hong Kong. Not only husband, but all the bridesmaids and groomsmen. Everyone's from Hong Kong. And 2 years after that, we have our first baby boy, and 2 years after, we've got our second baby. So life was great. So 12 years that I've spent in Australia. Let me show you a photo of my son's little one's first birthday. I know. And if you look carefully, there were 5 immigrant mums from Hong Kong with 10 boys because I wanted to have my life so secure that I hang out with people almost identical as me. That was how small my life was. And that's how small my comfort zone was. Don't get me wrong, life was great. Like if you look at the society checklist, you need to get a degree, get a job, get a house, get a husband, get 2 kids and 2 dogs. I got them all. But somehow, I feel like that's something missing. I don't know if you've had similar feeling before, like you know that you can do a little bit more. There's a little bit more in you, but what is it or how to get it? You just don't know. And then in 2017, that's when I reached my breaking point. That was not long after the photo that it was taken. So after my second maternity leave, I got a new job as a BDM in a financial planning company with probably 95% of the clients non-Asian. So, I still remember my very first client meeting. So that was me sitting at the boardroom with my director sitting right next to me and my client sitting opposite to me. An hour into the meeting, not one word was spoken from me because I was so scared. And the client asked me a question. What question that was, I don't even remember. But I remember my reply to that question though. I said, that's it. That's it. That was the only noise that I made in that 2 hours meeting. And after that meeting, I was really beating myself up. Like, what's wrong with me? I've been in Australia for 12 years. Like, it's not a short period of time, but what's wrong? Like, I can't even talk to one person and I can't even have one word. I just said, like, I was really, really frustrated about myself. I can't be like that anymore. What sort of future can I expect for myself if I can't talk to 80% of the Australians? And most importantly, what sort of example am I setting up for my kids? That's the moment I decided I had to change. I will never, ever put myself back to that situation again. But what can I do? That was the moment I came up with this bright idea. I thought to myself, you know what, if I can have 100 lunches with 100 strangers, then surely after that I should be able to talk to strangers, right? And I was right. Like, after 100 lunches, I literally cannot stop talking to anyone, so that worked. And not only that, I realized accidentally it changed my life. Like, my entire life changed in all different aspects. It's just an amazing journey because of all those beautiful, interesting people that I've met throughout my life. I had lunch with people with like different industries, for example. I had lunch with an anaesthetist who shared with me what actually happens after you fall asleep during a surgery, and you don't want to know that, but I had lunch with people with different cultural background, for example. I remember having lunch with a gentleman who was very nice, but when I came up to him and tried to shake his hand, he refused. And I go, oh, what happened? But turned out it's not me, it was him, because he's a very traditional Jewish background, and from his culture, he's not allowed to touch any other women. So we spent the whole lunch just talking about what he can and can't do, what he can and can't eat, and all his cultural rules, and that was fascinating for me. I had lunch with people with different life experiences, for example. I had lunch with a cancer survivor who shared with me how he finally started to live the moment he realized he was dying. And I had lunch with people from different working experience. I had lunch with the chairman of a listed company. That was an interesting lunch because I took my notepad with me, expecting to take lots of notes about business ideas or tips or how, everything about business. But turns out that he had a huge fight with his girlfriend the day before and broke up with his girlfriend. So the whole lunch, we were talking about girls and how to get his girlfriend back, and it worked. Like, who would expect that I can teach a chairman of a big company something? Like, that's just unexpected. So all these lunches just changed my life little by little, and my small world started to open up, become a bigger world. And each lunch is not just an opportunity to meet someone. It's like a door to a new world. And definitely I will never have the opportunity to meet those amazing people without this journey. Do you know why? Because none of them from Hong Kong. And that was the reason why I learned so much throughout the journey. I learned to be grateful. I learned how to connect with people, how to talk to people. That's why I wrote this book, 100 Lunches with Strangers, and combine and condense all the lessons that I've learned into 15 powerful lessons that I believe can change people's life. And let me just share with you the top 3 lessons that I learned today. The number one, first lesson that I've learned and realized about the journey was not about the strangers. I mean, yes, I learned a lot about them. I know about their family, their life, and we share little secrets. I know a little bit more about them. But more importantly, I learned a lot more about myself. Who's Kaley Chu? Because think about it, every time you meet someone new, they're gonna ask you lots of questions. Say 30 questions at a time. That will be like 3,000 questions that I have to answer. Kaley, what do you like to do? What's your hobby? What do you like? What are you trying to do? What makes you happy? You know, a whole bunch of questions. Again and again, and that really got me thinking about life. Yeah, what's the purpose of my life? What am I trying to achieve? Who's Kaley Chu? And what makes Kaley Chu a unique person? Clarity, super important. And let me share with you a story about what happens when you don't have enough clarity. You know, when I start to publish my book, do you know what takes longer than writing my book? Is getting the book cover design. With no exaggeration, I hired more than 5 designers. Between them, I had more than 20 different design concepts and more than 100 book cover design. And you know what? I didn't like any of them. To a point that I remember I was on the phone with one of the head designer and he was yelling at me. And he said, Kaley, you're wasting my time. Like, I want to kill you. And you know what my reply was? I said, the feeling's mutual. I want to kill you too. You are wasting my time. And he said to me, so tell me, Kaley, what do you want? And I go, I don't know. That's the moment I realized something wrong. It's me, it's not him. I know what I didn't want, those designs that he gave me, but I didn't know what I want. So the next day we went to a bookshop, we looked at so many different book covers. And we go, what I like, what I don't like, and we sat down for a 4 hours meeting, which sounds like a very long time, 4 hours, but that was time that's very well spent. Because after that meeting, he gave me 3 new designs and I love them all. And we have a design from there. Just to show you that I wasn't exaggerating my story, this is just some example for the book, you know, illustration, cartoon, simple design, different colors. This is just like life. I realized, like, life can throw amazing things at you, just like those book covers. They can be great, but if that's not what I like, I'm not going to be happy. And in life, if you're going to get all the great things, but if that's not what you like, you're not going to be happy either. So having lunch with 100 strangers was like an opportunity for me to sneak peek in other people's life. After each lunch, I like to have a reflection. Is that the life that I want? If so, how am I going to get there? And if not, how can I avoid to be in that situation? So clarity. What do you want in life? Like, be very specific. In life, in relationship, in business, career, what do you want? 2 months into my lunch with strangers journey, I had lunch with a billionaire. That was a very interesting lunch. That was a 3.5-hour lunch and took my life to the next level. We had lunch in one of the most amazing restaurants in Melbourne with entree, main, side, desserts, and a different wine with each dish. The food was amazing, but the company was even better. He shared with me his story, how he started more than 20 different companies, and 3 of them were really successful, and 1 got him to where he is today. I still remember that day that he looked at me and he said, Kaley, so what do you want to do in life? And I said, I don't know, probably a more senior role in my company, pay the bills, live happily ever after. He didn't say anything, but I saw disappointment in his eyes. And a few seconds later, he slowly said to me, Kaley, have you ever been curious what your full potential is? or what you described just then was the best that you can achieve? I was speechless. Like, before that moment, I've never ever thought of my full potential, let alone achieving them. So after that lunch, I really started to think, yeah, what can I do? What can I do better? Maybe he's right. Maybe I have underestimated my potential in my entire life. So now I have set myself much, much bigger goals that really excites me. Let me just share the top 2 goals that I'm working on at the moment. The number 1 goal that I'm working on, that by 2030, I want to have this 100 Lunches Club with more than 100,000 members. That means I'm going to change more than 100,000 people and their family's life, transform their life by them having lunches with strangers. It might not sound much to you at the moment, but if you had the experience like I did, experience what I experienced, you'll be as passionate as I am, because I truly believe that having lunches, 100 lunches with strangers, will change your life. They will take your life to the next level. That's why I'm so passionate about that. And the other goal that I'm working on is global. I don't know if you're aware, but there are about 36 million people in this world that's suffering from blindness at the moment, which is really sad, because the problem is 4 out of 5 of those people suffering from blindness didn't need to, because their condition is either curable or preventable. So I'm trying to raise funds for those people to have the surgeries to restore their eyesight, and my goal is 1 million people. I want to restore 1 million people's eyesight by partnering with CBM at the moment and raising funds to fund those surgeries. I haven't been a lot yet. Since I started this campaign June last year, I've raised a little more than 300 surgeries at the moment, but I know that I will get there. I will, and I'm going to, change the life of millions of people. These goals really excite me, and to be honest with you, I've never worked this hard in my life, but I never feel better and happy and more fulfilled in my life, because I know what I'm doing now. I found my purpose in life. How about you? What would you be doing if you live in your full potential? The third and final lessons that I want to share with you today is that strangers are opportunities. Strangers, for me, they were so scary before. Maybe that's because my mums kept telling me they're scary, but they're actually not that scary. In fact, without the help of strangers, there's no way I can be where I am and who I am today. They just help me so much. I just give you a few examples. Like, from a personal perspective, I met Tencel Ali, who's the 4-time Australian memory champion. He memorized all the phone numbers in the yellow pages in 24 days. Don't ask me why he did that, but I thought that was an impressive achievement. So now I'm learning memory techniques from him, and he's also a TEDx organizer. So I have the honor and opportunity to speak at TEDx in a couple of weeks. And I also met people like Michael. Michael, I don't know if you know him, he used to be the CEO for Mortgage Choice, and he's now the director for MoneyQuest. He was the first one that gave me the opportunity to speak at a corporate event. I've never ever thought that I'll be a public speaker, but he gave me the opportunity that changed my life once again. I also met people like Bill Pollack. I only had lunch with him a couple of weeks ago in his amazing penthouse in LA. He's the CEO for Drake International, and he invited me to be his ambassador for his new business. I also had lunch with, Shane Jacobson. I think we all know him. He's got a little message for you though. Can I play it? Let's see if I can play the message that he's got. Here we go. This is what he said.
You don't go to lunch, Kaley. Well, you're a bad person.
That's all. So if you don't want to be a bad person, come out and have lunch with me. He's just fantastic. He's a lovely, lovely person. And this is an interesting story. Sorry, this is a gross photo. I might go back a little so I don't scare you. It was just last month. I had that really bad infection on my eye with a Kaley and a dye. I don't know how we call them. That was right after Christmas. And I'm flying to America in 2 days. All the specialists were closed. I couldn't find one specialist that were open. And I went to the eye-ear hospital and told them that I have to get this fixed because I'm going to America. And they say, sorry, you're not going to lose your eyesight, and that's not an emergency. I said, I'm going to look so ugly. And they go, being ugly is not an emergency. So with my network and people that I had lunch with, I got in touch with a specialist that's willing to come and operate on my eye on a Christmas day. And, you know, in his clinic, I was really appreciative. So little things like that just changed my life from personal perspective. Oh, and all this media, I didn't spend a cent in PR or anything, but because I had lunch with people from media, they liked my story, so I just had free publicity from people. And that was from the personal perspective. I know a lot of you here were from business background and looking to grow your business. So this is one of the testimonials that I got from my clients. As I said before, I work in a financial planning company. And this is what he said to me. He said, if it wasn't the greatest way to sell, I don't know what is. No PowerPoint, no push, no intention to do anything other than connect with people. She wasn't meeting me for lunch to sell a damn thing, but yet I'm now a very happy customer. There are so many of them like that. I wasn't trying to sell a thing. I'm purely going there to hear their story and learn from them. But I've got more customers than I've ever had in my life. And I go, I must have done something right. So what did I do was right? So I start to dig in a little bit more details and start Googling. And this is what I found. Chet Holmes Pyramid. So Chet Holmes is one of the top strategists and strategy consultants for the top 500 Fortune 500. And this is what he found. He said, for any given product or service at any given time, about 10% people out there are open or looking to buy it now. And those are all the salespeople chasing. But there are 30% of people that are not thinking about it, and 30% of people that think they're not interested, but they are all your great clients just because they're not thinking about it. So having lunch with strangers for me, tap into those 60% of people. Instead of 10%, I now have 70% of people to work with. And then 30% of people that are not interested, the bottom ones, I still found a way to, get mutual benefits. For example, one of the most obvious one would be referrals. I had a lot of referrals from people from industry that I never thought would, like personal trainers, for example. They become one of my best referrers. And we had opportunities like this. Remember I said MoneyQuest, Michael? He's a mortgage broking firm. I work in a financial planning firm. He gave me an opportunity to speak in front of more than 100 brokers just to sell them, hey, what we do, how do you refer to us, and this is, how we can have mutual benefits. And that was great, for a small company like us. Think about that. And also, I had lunch with people who told me that, hey, my life is set, I don't need your service. But you know what, come and talk to my staff because they might need your financial planning advice. So this is what we did. We went to the company and have seminars. So instead of having one-on-one or one client, we do for the whole company. Think about efficient prospecting. And life is just so good, like from the business and personal perspective, just lunch with strangers just changed me so much. And let's just have a quick summary for what I just said today, the 3 top lessons that I learned. The number 1 lesson is clarity. What do you really want in life? Lesson 2, think big. What would you be doing and how many more people can you help if you live at your full potential? And last one, strangers are opportunities. What one thing you're going to implement today to meet and connect with more strangers? This is so important because I still remember at my book launch, which was just a few months ago, I wrote a list of people that I'm truly thankful for, people who changed my life. There are about 25, 30 of them. But you know what the interesting part is that when I look at the list, I realized 90% of them, I didn't even know them a year before. And yet, they all changed my life in different ways. I'm so grateful and thankful for them. So you really don't know when your life-changing opportunity, life-changing connection is going to be made. And don't just take my words for it. Dan Lok is one of the multi-millionaire that teach people about money mindsets and how to make money. And this is what he says. The amount of money you make is in direct proportion to how many strangers you talk to every day. And I totally agree with that. I know I said at the very beginning, I used to be very shy, so getting out of my comfort zone, meeting with strangers was way out of my comfort zone. You might not be shy, you might be perfectly happy to meet people, but there might be some little things that scares you maybe, something that you know that you should do, but you didn't do it because it's outside your comfort zone. Today, I just want to show you a very visual way what happens after you get out of your comfort zone. I honestly cannot think of a better way to show you than jumping out of a perfectly good plane, because I was really uncomfortable. Think about it, you got on there, got all the gears on, and they play you a video, safety instruction, and tell you what happens if the parachute doesn't open and things like that. So I was really, really, really scared. So let me show you that little video that I've got, because that feels right, just like how I do my 100 lunches. Going up to the sky, getting ready to jump. I scream, I was so scared, and I start to change my mind, and I was like, what was I thinking? Why would I do that? Like, this was crazy, but you know what? I did it. Yay! And that's what the beauty is. After you jump out of the plane or step out of your comfort zone, that's the beautiful view there. Life is beautiful. If only I decide to jump. And I landed safely. And this is what I really want to show you, what happens after. This is a little silly warning, just a little spoiler alert. So stupid, but I love it. The happy dance. People keep forgetting about the celebration after and the beautiful things that happens after, outside your comfort zone. Magic happens outside your comfort zone. I completely agree with that. Don't just focus on the scary bit in the beginning. Think about what happens after that. So it's action time, because I can convince you all day long why should you have lunch with strangers, but nothing happens without action. So that's why I've got on everyone's seat today a little card called Let's Catch Up with Lunch card. I've got my little version for me that I give away to people. So I want to give you one challenge today. Very simple, very easy. Just put your name, phone number, email address there and give this card to one person. Just one person today before you get home. Could be anyone in this room, could be the one that, lying in front of you in a cafe when you get a coffee, somebody that you don't usually have lunch with. Give the card to him, invite him or her out for lunch and see what happens. Again, you don't know when your life-changing connection is going to be made. The most amazing thing happened to me, for me, in this journey is not just about me, because I realized when I start to change, people around me start to change as well, because I became more confident and more motivated to do things. I motivated my husband to do more. He used to be really shy, but you know what? We jumped out of the plane together. We went to do comedy, stand-up comedy lessons together. We went out and did lots of cool things together and just bond us a lot more as a couple. And because I was more confident, my husband got more confidence, our kids became more confident. This is my boy, his name's Aiden. He was 5 years old and he was holding a snake that's heavier than him on his shoulder. We went to this exact farm, watched this exact show a year before I took this photo. No one had the courage to touch the snake. But this time, everybody did it. He was hesitant, but I did it. My husband did it, and he wanted to have a go. And after that, he came up to me and said, "Mummy, I'm so brave." And I said, "Yes, you are." And just looking at this photo, I feel so grateful that I decided to change and decide to take a step out of my comfort zone and take control of my life, because I can finally tell my boys that, you know what, we can all do it. If there's anything you're not happy in life, like anything, whether it's just anything, we can change it. Because I've proven to him that, you know what, even though I was so shy, that doesn't mean that I can't become a public speaker and speak in front of a few hundred people in a year's time. And just because I was an immigrant and English not my first language, that doesn't mean that I can't write a book in English and speak, you know. And just because I was a terrible BDM who couldn't talk to people doesn't mean that I can't change it and have constant flow of referrals coming to me. Because we can change. Connect with people. They can change your life. And you have the power to change your destiny. Thank you.